Hi and welcome back to Cut the Kragle. Today we're going to be taking a look at this Ninjago Legacy set I picked up in my recent New Year's haul. If you haven't already, be sure to check that video out. I'll pop a card up in the corner now. It is the Ninjago Legacy Tournament of Elements. This is a set I was pretty excited about. To me, it's this year's equivalent of last year's Gamers Market, which was basically a Ninjago people pack. And whilst this set doesn't have quite as many minifigs, I certainly think the minifigures are going to be the main reason a lot of people pick this up. I mean, heck, it even has my sig fig. That alone should be enough to convince you to buy this. Although, for some reason, they've misspelt Kragle as Bolobo. But I'm not going to hold that against them. I know this is a remake of the 2015 set Dojo Showdown, which in turn was based on the 4th season of the cartoon. But that's about as far as my casual Ninjago fan knowledge gets me. So be gentle with me in the comment section if I get something a little wrong. Alright, let's take a look at it. So here it is, all built up, and I think this is a pretty decent looking set. I wasn't expecting much, but this is very nice. It actually kind of feels a little more like a small display piece rather than a playset, in that it's a neat little backdrop for a vignette. You can create some cool action scenes just by posing your minifigs atop or in front of it. Off to the side here, you can see this extra little side assembly with the Gold Ninja Lloyd minifigure. All of the Legacy sets in this wave come with a different Golden Ninja minifigure to celebrate the 10th anniversary of the theme. There's 6 to collect in total, but we'll take a look at him in a bit, along with the rest of the minifigs. Without the minifigures all over it, we can get a cleaner look at the main build of this set. And yes, it does very much follow that same overused motif in Ninjago of a back wall with 2 side walls coming off at a slight angle either side. I mean, I'm just a filthy casual when it comes to Ninjago, and even I have like a dozen sets like this. Although this one does have 2 levels to it, rather than just one as most of the other shrine or dojo type sets do. So you get that extra dynamic to play and display your minifigs. The sides are also extended either side with little add-on assemblies. On the left we have this green spinning bladed thingy for when you fancy making a game of Limbo that more interesting. And then on the right there's a single bit of foliage on a black vine, which in turn is linked to this mixel style ball joint. So you can kind of move it around if you want to. Like I said, this kind of feels more like a display piece rather than a playset. There's not really any intricately built-in play features. But there are a couple of hidden little surprises, I guess. This vase-like thing on the left here actually has something inside of it. If we take off the top, you can see that there's a little green dagger inside. I mean, that's cool and all, but there's not exactly a shortage of weapons here. Kinda seems silly to have to hide one. Also, down in this brown crate, on the bottom right, are a pair of silver roller skates. I feel like this is a reference to something in the cartoon, but I don't know what it is. If you do, drop me a message in the comments below. There's also this leather-bound book piece down here on display, which sadly uses a rather obvious looking sticker on the front cover, and also a sticker for the pages inside. So yeah, not a lot going on in terms of play features, but I do think this is a great looking set. The colour palette used is consistent, and it gives it a striking but not obtrusive appearance. And I do think it's a great assembly to display minifigures on. Speaking of which, let's take a look at them. First up we have, well, they're calling it Bolobo, but clearly this fella should be called Kragle. And whilst I'm not littered in tattoos like this, I do appreciate the level of printing on this minifig's torso. He even comes with leg printing underneath that luscious hair and beard piece. Oh my gosh. That's Jack from Hidden Side's headpiece. First they get my name wrong, and I let that slide. But then they used a headpiece of my love rival for my minifig? I have never been so insulted. Well, actually there was that one time when... There. That's better. Much better. And actually probably more accurate to how I look in real life. Next up, this fella is called Eyezor. And with a face like that, I can see why. As gnarly looking as this dude is, he is a pretty cool minifig though. The legs match the torso really well, with that chain on the left seemingly hanging down from his leather vest. The print on the torso though, isn't great. The design itself is fine, but the quality of the print for the yellow flesh tone on his chest is pretty shambolic. I don't think it looks quite as bad on camera as it does in person. But you know, this is no new thing. LEGO just can't be bothered fixing this problem with the poor opacity when printing lighter colours on darker plastic. Then we have Jacob, or as many people are already calling him, Sergeant Pepper Dude. I mean, the inspiration here is pretty obvious, so who can blame them? And this is another great looking minifig. That torso design is fabulously flamboyant, and it's great to get minifig parts in this teal colour as it's not overly commonly used for minifigures. But I'm also a big fan of that groovy looking face print with the star-shaped sunglasses. And underneath the afro, he also has a much more alarmed alternate face print. After that, we have Gravis, and I really like this fig. I don't know anything about this character, but he has this very suave, swashbuckling vibe to him that makes me think of the old Sinbad movies. No leg printing for this fella, and the torso design is, at least at first glance, pretty simple. But if we move him just a little bit, hopefully the light should pick up some very subtle details there in the shading of his clothes. And he also comes with a alternate face print, with him sleeping. Or meditating? Yeah, probably that one. I've bundled these two together as they are probably the least interesting minifigures in this set, Kai and Jay. And, you know, these aren't bad looking minifigs by any stretch of the imagination. In fact, I really like them both. The prints are done well, and I like the elemental symbols on their backs. But it's Kai in red robes, and Jay in blue robes. And whilst these may be new versions of that, it's very hard for me to get too excited about these, considering how many red and blue ninja minifigures there are out there. Finally, we have the gold ninja Lloyd minifigure. I don't think this is based on anything that appears in this story. Rather, these gold ninja minifigures are the Ninjago equivalent to when the Star Wars anniversary sets had the classic style minifigs. And to be fair, this is a stunning minifigure. I really like this. I think this is a new piece for his hair and bandana, and I love how the green cuts in and out underneath his blonde hair. You can see this is a dual molded piece, and I really hope we get this in more colours in the future. It could make for some great Cobra Kai custom minifigures. There is one other element to this set that I almost forgot about. Pun not intended. And I guess this is what makes this a playset rather than a display piece. Maybe. So this glittery tornado cyclone type piece is what I think is called a Ninjago Spinner. I fully expect to be mauled in the comments for getting that wrong. And you can take off the curved tile on the bottom and attach it to this handle thing. Now I expected this to be like a piston mechanism that you pulled back and released and this thing shot off. But nope. What you actually do is just roll this across the floor or desk or other flat non-carpeted surface. I mean, that's kinda cool, but it's not exactly the most satisfying of play features. If I plop a minifig in its path, and I miss completely, see, because you have to roll this on its side, it's not very precise. But I guess this might be fun for the kids. I feel like I've thrown a lot of shade at this set over the course of the review, and that totally wasn't my intention, because I actually really love this thing. I got it primarily for the minifigs, and was pleasantly surprised by how much I liked the build. But yeah, the play features do nothing for me. But that's not necessarily a big loss, as I wasn't expecting anything in that sense anyway. I did say this is kinda like last year's Gamers Market, and I stand by that. However, this set is £2 cheaper, has 2 less minifigures, and more of a focus on the dojo build. So I guess they've gotten better at disguising Ninjago minifigure packs as actual sets. I just hope they get my name right on the next box. Let me know what you think of the Ninjago Legacy Tournament of Elements in the comments below. And while you're there, be a legend and hit that subscribe button along with notifications. And if you've done all that, well, you might as well give the video a thumbs up too. Go on, you know it makes sense. I'll see you next time. Laters.